Bitcoin transaction rate is currently at its highest level since December 2017 despite the 14-month-long bear market. With transaction per second on the rise, the top-ranked cryptocurrency is also experiencing a resurgence in both actual use, especially in emerging markets, and interest as seen in the latest Google search trends. Data from blockchain shows that Bitcoin's transaction rate is currently at 3.8 transactions per second (TPS). The figure represents the highest BTC transaction rate since its all-time high of 4.7 in mid-December 2017. After the initial price crash of February 2018 that took BTC price to $6,000, the transaction rate also fell. However, since then, BTC's TPS count has been rising steadily. Despite the steady increase, transaction fees have remained relatively stable on the lower end of the spectrum. In 2017, as the daily transaction volume rose, so did the average fees paid to miners also increase. By the time of the eye-catching bull rally in late 2017, fees had topped $50 on the average, a massive increase from sub-$1 levels before the surge. The fact that BTC transaction volume without any corresponding hike in fees shows that capacity-boosting upgrades like SegWit are having an effect. Last month, Bitcoinist also reported that Bitcoin daily on-chain transaction volume has also reached the highest level since the 2017 price peak. Bitcoin's TPS isn't the only thing on the rise related to the top-ranked cryptocurrency at the moment. Different metrics show a resurgence in both interest in and actual usage of Bitcoin. Data from CoinDance shows a significant surge in BTC P2P trading via the local Bitcoins platform. Countries like Venezuela and Indonesia are currently registering record Bitcoin trading volumes on a weekly basis. Matty Greenspan, senior market analyst at eToro, opines that BTC is finding increased utility in emerging markets with less stable economies. Even with the year-long bear market, BTC constitutes a viable enough proposition for people in such countries. Since the second week of February 2019, BTC price has experienced two significant jumps that have seen it test $4,000. In that time, there has also been a marked increase in global Bitcoin searches as shown by data from Google Trends. Reddit competitor introduces EOS token to its 300 million users. From Tapatalk's press release, Tapatalk's mobile-first app for forum owners and their members is used by over 200,000 forums in 186 countries. Those forums that have connected to Tapatalk have an aggregate registered user base of 300 million people, in the range of Twitter and Reddit. When we first read this, the initial thought that came to mind was there must be a typo somewhere or an exaggeration. No one at Crypto Insider had ever heard of this forum app that has a user base on par with Twitter and Reddit. We were intrigued to find out more about the company and its tokenization initiative, so we interviewed Winter Wong, Tapatalk's CEO. The company is based in Los Angeles, is backed by venture capital, employs 40 engineers in the US and Asia, and is cash flow positive. We had to ask Mr. Wong. Tapatalk has 300 million users and yet we had never heard of it before. How is this possible? We are a niche service. We provide an integrated interface and a mobile app for the communities from around the world that before oftentimes were being hosted on local servers. The introduction of blockchain is quite a natural step for us. We had previously introduced gold points as in platform rewards, now placing them on the blockchain will enable micropayments and make them more fungible, says Mr. Wong. Do you have an ICO in your plans? No, but eventually, we would like gold points to be listed on exchanges to make them more liquid. The Gold Point wallet is being built on the EOS platform and should be released later in February. The end users will not notice the change, everything is being implemented on the backend, it doesn't affect the user interface. We started reaching out to the community managers educating them about the benefits of this initiative but not the end users. We are starting off with crypto-related communities such as Moon Forum. A lot of times, companies announce about blockchain initiatives for ulterior motifs such as to increase the market cap or investor valuation and to help with fundraising. Did you have any of these reasons on the back of your mind? No, not really. We have been investing a lot in infrastructure, it just makes sense. You are a venture-backed company, did you consult with your investors beforehand? No. We are backed by some of the best VCs in the world, they completely support us. Why EOS? Don't you have to pre-buy about $2 million worth of EOS tokens? EOS has good APIs, it's scalable and affordable. No, not at all. We had to stake a relatively small amount, it's in 5 figures. Facebook has been criticized for censorship. Do you censor or moderate content? We don't. It's in the interest of community managers to moderate content. Have you ever had any interactions with the local authorities regarding content that is locally prohibited? Yes, but not very often. Usually a couple of times a year we have these conversations. Our combined user base is on par with Twitter and Reddit. We are building a decentralized social network with more equitable reward distribution. We are competing both with traditional social networks and decentralized ones such as Steemit. We have researched Steemit quite a bit. Our biggest advantage over Steemit and other decentralized social networks is that we are not starting with zero, we have an existing user base and we are just adding features. XRP should be worth $10,000 and there's evidence in its design. Crypto Enthusiast. XRP has been one of the most talked about cryptocurrencies of late, and that's something that attracts the attention of various enthusiasts who would like to offer a more in-depth account of it. According to one Mark Phillips, there's enough evidence to indicate that XRP was actually designed to be worth of $10,000. Mark took to Twitter to publish a post in which he expressed his belief. He also posted a more detailed article to discuss the same on Medium. Designed for financial institutions. In the article, Mark argues that XRP was specifically designed for use by financial institutions as a viable replacement for the tedious conventional systems currently in use. As such, the crypto operational design offers better liquidity that overcomes the hurdles faced by price volatility. This aspect is especially enhanced by XRP's fast transaction processing, meaning that the funds transferred are not subject to value change in the course of the transfer. This comes in very handy in the case of cross-border transactions. Divisibility and low cost of transaction. The fact that XRP tokens are divisible by huge numbers tells a lot in regard to what it's designed for. For example, looking at the current price, it would seem weird that a cryptocurrency worth just 31 cents should be divisible by 1 million. However, as the market expands, the system needs more liquidity, and that means a higher price. In that case, if all asset classes were to be incorporated within the XRP ecosystem, a single XRP coin would trade at roughly $11,000 to achieve the proper liquidity. In fact, the company behind XRP, Ripple, has been lobbying for partnership with hundreds of financial institutions around the world and encouraging them to use XRP as the base currency for funds transfer. It wouldn't be a surprise if XRP was to hit $10,000 in value sometime in the future. The low transaction cost makes it more appealing to such institutions. XRP to serve 7.5 billion people. Going forth, Mark argues that the XRP ecosystem was designed with the whole world in mind, saying that XRP can serve the whole world population, 7.5 billion people. The XRP team is working to scale up the accounting mechanism to make the XRP ledger more efficient in hosting personal accounts for users to use in their daily financial needs. Physically backed crypto futures for Bitcoin, Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash set for imminent launch. Coinflex says it will roll out physically backed Bitcoin, Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash futures in a matter of days. The Hong Kong-based company is a spin-off of CoinFloor, the UK's oldest Bitcoin exchange, and is partly owned by Bitcoin Cash evangelist Roger Ver and Chicago-based fintech company Trading Technologies International. Coinflex just launched its website and plans to offer Asian clients up to 20x leverage on all three cryptocurrencies. For months, the crypto community has been clamoring for physically backed futures, which are paid out with the underlying cryptocurrency, instead of cash. In a recent interview with Bloomberg, Coinflex CEO Mark Lamb explains the importance of physically settled futures. If you're trading a cash-settled future, you're open to manipulation of the index at the time of settlement. If you're a market maker where you're doing a basis trade, where you're arbitraging the cash and spot markets, the cash markets versus the futures market, what you really want to be sure about is, at the time of expiry, you know exactly what you're going to get. With a physically delivered future, it really ties the future's price to the actual, underlying asset because at expiry, everyone knows what they're going to get. Everyone who's short, delivers Bitcoin, receives cash. Everyone who's long, delivers cash, receives Bitcoin. So that kind of tying down to the real world allows these types of futures to be used for much more than just speculation. They're great speculative tools, but they become useful for commercial hedging, hedging minor exposure, hedging an OTC trade, or making markets. Meanwhile, Intercontinental Exchange, owner of the New York Stock Exchange, is waiting on the Commodity Futures Trading Commission to approve the launch of its new crypto trading platform, Backed, which will deliver physically backed crypto futures in the US. After missing two target launch dates, the company now says it will launch later this year, pending regulatory approval, and calls the project its moonshot bet on Bitcoin and crypto. $1 million, IBM crypto chief sets massive Bitcoin price target. IBM VP of Blockchain and Digital Currencies Jesse Lund is bullish on Bitcoin, so bullish, in fact, that he set a long-term $1 million price target. Bitcoin price has $1 million potential. Lund revealed his long-term Bitcoin price target at the recent Think conference, in an interview with Fred Schebester. The IBM executive pointed out that the higher the price of a crypto asset, the more utility it has. Therefore, he thinks people should focus less on the moving prices of crypto assets and more on their utility. If the price of Bitcoin were higher, there would be more liquidity on the network. We could be having a really different discussion with banks right now, he says. He adds that speculators are hurting the value of cryptocurrencies because they're thinking about it wrong. Lund sees the Bitcoin price rallying by more than $1,000 before the end of 2019. Later in the interview, Lund made an astonishing remark as to the future of cryptocurrencies. By New Year's Eve, he predicts the price of Bitcoin will be $5,000. However, his long-term outlook is much different. I have a long-term outlook. It goes back to that discussion about the utility of the network with a higher price. I see Bitcoin at $1 million someday. I like that number because if Bitcoin's at $1 million, then the Satoshi is on value parity with the US penny. And that means there's over $20 trillion of liquidity in this network. Think about $20 trillion in liquidity and how that changes things like corporate payments. Lund's view is that when the Bitcoin price gets high enough, serious banks take more interest. When this happens, the utility of the token increases at its core value proposition, less expensive transfers of value. Both IBM and R3 are working hard on creating solutions for cross-border payment solutions using multiple digital assets. It's not every day that someone from the old world of technology predicts such a high price for Bitcoin. The $5,000 figure may even be debatable from here, as speculators make anything possible.
Thanks for listening to Crypto Minutes, your daily cryptocurrency news recap, presented in short videos for your listening pleasure. We source a minimum of 5 trending articles a day, from popular news aggregator CryptoPanic.com. Timestamps and original articles can be found in the video description links below. See you tomorrow, for more breaking news.